On August 25th of this year, 2022, LastPass disclosed that their system suffered a data breach. Well, because of this, they had to send notification to everyone who was impacted, and they also released a post on their blog page. To read that full blog post, click on the link below that's in the descriptions. Well, since the release of this information, the media has had a field day on reporting on the data breach. Some of the headlines are just absolutely ridiculous and do nothing but fear-mongering. So before things get too blown out of proportion, I want to take a moment to address the true impact of this breach and provide you with actionable steps to take if they're necessary. So what happened in this data breach? Let's get to the facts. Well, the initial information that's provided right on LastPass website on their blog post stated that an unauthorized party gained access to portions of the LastPass development environment through a single developer account and took portions of source code and some proprietary LastPass technical information. What the heck does that mean? Let's break it down for you. Basically, it means that the hackers, or whoever these people were, they obtained LastPass's source code and technical information, not customer protected information. So were master passwords of their users compromised? Well, LastPass has said that their master passwords were not compromised. And that's because they never store or have knowledge of the master passwords. This is known as a zero knowledge architecture. And it's something that LastPass and many of these password managers utilize to protect you in the event that their systems are compromised. If you want to learn more about how LastPass is implementing their zero knowledge architecture, again, there'll be a link below in the show description. The next question you might have is, were passwords compromised? We talked about the master password, but what about all the passwords for your accounts that you might have stored in LastPass? Well, again, LastPass has stated that they found no evidence that user vaults, that's where your passwords are stored, were compromised. They further stated that it was their development environment that was compromised. In addition, if the vaults were compromised, the data or your passwords, well, they would be worthless without the decryption key because, see, LastPass, like many of the other password managers out there, especially the ones that I like, they have encryption at rest and encryption in transit. Well, that encryption in transit is what's protecting LastPass users right now, because if that environment had been compromised where the passwords were stored, meaning in your individual vault, without the decryption key, your passwords are nonsense. Basically, what encryption does is that it takes the data and it scrambles it. And in order to put it back into working order or useful information, it has to be decrypted using the decryption key. So based on the information that we have right now, no, your passwords were not compromised. And even if the current form of passwords were compromised, they were not decrypted because supposedly the decryption key was not revealed. So what do you need to do if you're a LastPass user? Well, at this time, LastPass doesn't recommend taking any action. However, I like to be a little bit cautious. So what I would recommend at the very least, just change your master password. I mean, it's a good idea to change it annually or anytime you believe that there's been an issue. This is just good basic digital hygiene or best practices or privacy mindset or whatever you want to call it. It's just good basic common sense to use. So go ahead, take a moment, change your master password. It's not that difficult to do. And at least that way it'll give you a little bit of peace of mind. Like I always say, better to be safe than sorry. But what about all of the other passwords that you have stored in your LastPass vault? Do you need to change those? Based on the information that's been released by LastPass, I don't think it's necessary at this time. You should continue to go ahead and monitor all the online accounts, which is something you should be doing anyways, regardless of the situation. Because again, nothing is 100% foolproof. Just because you might have, everything under lock and key and using the best technology out there to protect you and your online accounts and the online companies are saying we use military grade encryption and all these other marketing things, or they tell you we use the latest standards. Nothing is 100%. That's why you still need to monitor your accounts, especially your most crucial ones, bank accounts, anything financial related, anything where if it was compromised, someone can do a lot of damage. So just go ahead and continue to monitor those accounts. If you see something suspicious, then take appropriate action. But I don't think you need to go overboard and change every single password right now. If you really are concerned about it and you want to change passwords, I always refer to the 3-tier system. Tier 1, those are your online accounts that are the most crucial, and if someone got a hold of them, they could do the most amount of damage. Tier 2, that's where you might have credit cards or other information stored, but if something happened, it wouldn't be as crucial, and those would be pretty relatively quick and easy to fix. Your tier 3 are for accounts that you really could care less about. If somebody gets into them, they're not going to do any damage. So if you do want to go ahead and change some of your passwords out of abundance of caution, just go ahead and do your tier 1, your most crucial sensitive accounts. But do I think it's necessary? No. But if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. There's nothing stopping you. And again, if it makes you feel better, go ahead and do it. So the last thing I want to talk about, and some of these articles that the media is now putting out is, oh, are password managers safe? Should you use password managers? The number one reason why you shouldn't use a password manager is because of data breaches. Again, media loves fear mongering. Why? Because it gets you to click and read the article. The more people that read the article, the more viewers they have, the more subscribers they have, and everything else. So it's all about getting those clicks. So they always like to hyper sensationalize things. So are password managers safe? Well, let's break it down. First of all, you'll never hear me say that anything is safe. Everything has risks. Nothing is 100% guaranteed. So the goal is, first, when you're deciding what you want to use, look at all the areas of exposure or all the risks. You have to identify what those risks are for everything. If you're going to write your passwords down in paper and pencil, yes, it's true. It can't be hacked by online. But if you lose where you have that piece of paper, or if you forget to write down a password that you've updated and you still have the old one on the piece of paper, then that's not going to do any good. Or if somebody should steal that paper or just simply take out their smartphone and take a photograph of it, well, now they have your password. So every single thing has risks. So what you need to do is identify what those risks are, eliminate the ones that you can't, eliminate the ones that you can. And for the risks that you can't eliminate, well, you need to weigh the risk for the reward. Is it worth taking the risk for the reward or the benefit that you're going to get by utilizing a password manager? That's how you determine if they are a good choice for you. Some people might say no, some people might say yes. I personally like password managers. I know that they've evolved since the beginning. When they first came out, I was not a fan. Over the years, they've improved, they've gotten better. There is a little bit of that convenience factor where you always hear me say privacy versus convenience. You have to weigh one against the other because they don't live in the same space. That's true. But in this case, again, I'm willing to give up a little bit of that privacy in exchange for that convenience. And it's also good because if something should happen to me and my loved ones or family need to get access to those online accounts, well, I set someone up to be my emergency point of contact. So if something happens to me, they can easily get in. So to me, that benefit outweighs the risk, but that is just my personal choice. You go ahead and make yours. So once again, everything has risk. Even if you're writing them down on paper and pencil, or even if you're storing them on your own computer or on your own device, because what happens if that device crashes? You lose all your passwords. So weigh the risk with the reward, and you decide if a password manager is the right choice for you. Do I think you should get rid of using password managers because of this data breach? Absolutely not. On the contrary, this breach just shows how far that these companies have evolved into protecting customer information. The fact that they were breached and as of right now, no customer information or sensitive passwords were exposed just goes to show how hard these companies are working to try to protect your information. So there it is. There's the facts. Don't pay attention to any of this fear mongering. Here's exactly what happened. Here are some steps that you can take if you choose to. And if you like this information and you found it beneficial, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Our goal here at Privacy Mentor is to help you dispel all the clickbait and the fear mongering, and to break it all down to simple, easy to understand, common sense of looking at cybersecurity technology and how to protect yourself and reclaim your privacy. Thanks for watching.